time comes, don't postpone it. When others down and out, you don't condone it. Truth be told, yourself is your toughest opponent. When your moment comes, grab hold and own it. Never let go, stand tall and hold tight. Overcoming obstacles is the objective in life. Doubters all the night, and onto them you shine
Good
bright.
morning, everyone.
Inside your head, on goes the light. Ignite. Play the intuition upon the stars in the night that glisten. To you they listen, to be you stand that I wish in. When your time comes, don't postpone it. When others down and out, you don't condone it. Truth be told, yourself is your toughest opponent. When your moment comes, grab hold and own it. When your time comes, don't postpone it. When others down and out, you don't condone it. Truth be told, yourself is your toughest opponent. When your moment comes, grab hold and own it. Never let go, stand tall and hold tight. Overcoming obstacles is the objective in life.
We've got a large list of tickers. So
Shine bright, 'cause inside
I'm playing with the little audio a little bit. But yeah, so we're gonna get through it. Let's just give folks a couple minutes to join. Hey Zach, hey Scooz, hey Mo. Hope everyone's been having a good long weekend. All right, let's go ahead and get started. First ticker we got is Apple. I'm going to ask if someone can just take notes on the levels we talk about, and then what we can do after the session is in Discord we'll hop on and plan out some potential trades. Okay, so let's take a look at this Apple. And so here's some interesting. So on the hourly chart, you can see how 126, 127 right here is support, right? And it's got some volume right here, 129, 131. You can see this in the volume profile. So and we can see that we had a flush out in December down into 124. And then it came back up. So we also have on the daily chart, you can see here at 138 that was a double top, right? So at this point, I would say we're at a place where one could, in theory, take a long for a risk reward, and you would risk to basically 126, right down here. So if we break back below this 126, or we start bouncing at some support here, one can go long for a move higher in Apple. But if this 126, 125 breaks, then we should be looking to see this 123.50, the 50-day moving average, as the next potential long spot. And then if that breaks, we could be starting to see a dump. And you can see the next big volume on the daily is down here around 115, 116 area, right? So if this breaks, we would expect to see a flush down into here. But for the last year, it's always been BTFD. The big thing that has me a little bit concerned is oh, I am so sorry. I forgot to switch to the charts. There we go. Thank you. Guys, sorry about that. All right. Okay, here's the charts. Let's do that again real quick. So the 127 level you can see right here. The 129. So if it reclaims this 1929.20 or so, I think that could be another potential long spot for upside, and then just risk to 128. Or the other long spot is here, risking to 126. Right? And then we were talking about the downside over here. So we have a triple bottom. We're basically at support right in this area. We have the 50-day moving average right here. Now the big challenge is here. Where's the volume? The big volume is down here at 161.17. So if this breaks below 114.50, 115, then in this we could see a big shit show, right? Because all the buyers here for the last 3, 4, 5 months will end up going underwater, and then we're looking like and this is like if market just decides to really crap out. But for now, we play what we've been getting, right? We've basically been getting BTFD after any 800 point drop in from a recent high on SPY, which we got. So um, things do look like we're going to head it lower. We don't know. So at least my process or my system, is basically trust that there's going to be BTFD until that doesn't happen anymore, right? And so we still have good risk reward for buying at the support level here, and then if it breaks, we cut it or flip. So that's my thinking right here. Is that if we get a bounce right here, we get a clearance over 129.20. It could start moving over, but then 131 has some resistance, and then 133 is the next major level right here, and then over 133 brings the path back toward all-time highs. All right, so you should be able to see the charts now, right? Okay, I think everyone can see it, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to the next ticker. AI. So let me know if you can't. Okay, cool. Okay, so AI. The I don't know if there's any catalyst on this. The To me, it looks a little bit top heavy here at this 150. And I think it just needs in consolidation. It may bounce around here. If it clears 150, then it opens the door. This 152, I'm sorry. If it clears 152, it opens the door for the upside. Otherwise, I'd kind of maybe if it consolidates at 130, maybe 130 will be support. I'd prefer to buy it around 120, assuming that there's going to be more consolidation and before it can do a larger move. Okay, let's move on. AMD. Okay, so this is what gets me a little bit concerned for the market. So we basically have a breakout. Semis tend to, or I guess, lead the market. And so what we had is basically a failed breakout and now a break of support right here. So if you notice, last time it did this, new high, slam, broken to support, and then sold down a little bit here, right? But then we had BTFD, right? So we saw a double bottom down here at 73, 74. So we need to see kind of maybe some consolidation. I think 86.70 could be where we're headed and looking for that. And if we get a double bottom right here around 86, 86.70, then that could, and then a reclaim of VWAP, then it's back on for the upside. But if it breaks this and we start getting some volume selling, and especially if we see a volume break of this 82 level, things things can start looking a bit shady. And then especially if we break 74, 73 way back over here, right? Because then the 200 should be caught up by the time that happens. If we break that 74 and the 200 moving average, we could see a big smack down into 55, 56. So I'm not saying that is what's going to happen. I'm just saying be prepared, right? We see this starting to set up. We see a break of this 82. It might be worth grabbing some 74 puts that week, and just in case, right? If it's really cheap, and because if it breaks this and flushes, it's going to be a huge payday, right? But under the BTFD, we should be looking for 86 area, um, 87 as potential bounce and support spots. And the next major one is actually down here with this volume right here, um, right around the 83 area, 82, 83. Okay, and then the other such scenario would be that this is just gap down reversal. If we clear back over this 92.20, 92.30, that's another potential long spot. Okay, Amazon. Okay, Amazon, more consolidation. I mean, this is what we've been talking about for a while now. That Amazon is in a tight range, right? This 3,200 is kind of key. We're kind of breaking a little bit of support, but until I mean, this is the 200 is catching up. Um, Amazon did get, let's see, I think you can use this 3080, 3075 as a guide for a long and a break for a short. Um, the Amazon was listed, so Motley Fool over the weekend had highlighted three e-commerce companies to buy. Um, Amazon, Etsy, and Melly. And so so those three may get some buy volume come next week. But yeah, this is great. Like this is solid consolidation. We've had almost 3 months of it. Whenever this decides to make a big move, it's going to be a big payday. So we just got to wait. All right. Yeah, Amazon owes me some money. Let's see next ticker. Baba. Okay, so for Baba, we've got kind of a nice chart, good consolidation. The pushes are kind of getting sold here. So we've got the 200. We really needs to get some volume and a reclaim up and over 250 and the 200 moving average and this. So clear 250, 260, 265. If they can clear this 265, that should start turning the 50-day and it'll be a solid break over the 200. And then that should start establishing some buy volume for a move back up over 300. But that's what we need to do. Otherwise, um, pushes 255, 260, or 250 and fails, or breaks back below 240, the sell programs may come back. So, so that's that. So that's Baba is so the key levels here. I would say then are keep an eye on 242, 41. This right here, this 242 right here breaks back below this, then a couple points to the downside. It might be choppy and messy right around here. And then you can see this 236.50. If that breaks, then the volume it opens the door for more downside. And let's go ahead and continue. Oh man, I forgot to share this. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. Where this we just did Amazon, Baba, Baidu. Let's take a look at Baidu. Okay, so Baidu had a double top on this test right here, and exhaustion. It needs to find some support. We're below this 240 level where there was a bunch of volume. So if it pushes and can't get over this 240, maybe the 242, I'd say 240 more likely. If it can't get back over 240, if you look on the daily, it's got room to come back to test support down here around 227, 228, and then it's had a huge move up here. So it may just need some consolidation, um, and yank back down into this previous resistance, which one is 226. I'm sorry, 225. Otherwise, there's support down here at 220, and then 200. So if market decides to just unwind or unload on tickers, we could have a pullback over here. If you guys recall, this that I was looking at Baidu's move on the daily. If you look right here, before it got to new highs, this right here, I was kind of thinking that Baidu was doing a move similar to Nvidia did way back when, before its big run. And this is the move I'm talking about. So we had this. So Nvidia had this is before the March action actually. So what I'm referring to is this time frame when Nvidia was coming back toward the 200, it came and pushed and then slammed back into the 50-day moving average, right? And then it had a washout double bottom before it continued higher, and it had an ER to give it the catalyst for more upside. So if we look at at I'm sorry, Baidu. The one concern is that we've kind of gotten pretty far away from the 50 moving average. And so we've had this really accelerated move. We basically need to hold this level right here and this level here. Consolidate. Maybe it takes a little more time before more upside. Otherwise, we're looking at a slam back possibly on 200 before it starts the trend back to the upside, right? If it can't hold these levels right here. And I think that'll be partly dependent upon how the market turns out this next couple weeks. Got to remember, folks, in the last month, right? In less than a month, it's up from $140 to $240. So 30 plus percent gain. It's okay, right? If it wants to give back 10, 15%, from 260, 10%, $26. That puts us in 240, 235, 236, right? So that puts us down over here. So it would be reasonable for it to come back and test this level before heading higher, or just a breather. And then overall, I do think that Baidu is setting up for taking out this 275, 273 area, then 285, and then a move into 300. It's within striking range. The question is just going to be, does it need to consolidate before, or is it going to just dip and then rip? So if it clears this high day again, 257, 258, 260, I'd be definitely looking for that move over into 280s. The Okay, so that's Baidu. Let's go to CRM. Okay, so CRM finally broke that range. I was kind of looking for CRM to break down and head to 200, but I wanted it fast after that big break. We're now at the 200. I don't know if there was any news catalyst for CRM. I thought I saw somebody go neutral on them, but there's a 260 price target that came out recently, and they were the outperform ratings were continued, at least at Credit Suisse. But it's almost to gap fill, right? So 210 and the 200. So we have two factors there. So my thought is, if we do get the gap fill down here and a reclaim up and over, ideally I almost like it more over 225 for the upside. I'd like to see it test and bounce and get over to 25, and then I'm like, okay, it did a gap fill, and then now we have room to come back up. If it breaks this 210, 209, and the 200 moving average are going to close. If you look at this volume profile over here, right? You see this 220, you see this right here, you see the gap fill down over here. We're really close, right? So it's if we get this gap fill and pop back over, I kind of like that long for us to continue to start working upwards. But for now, if this 215, 213, which you're testing, we kind of got to close over there. That breaks and we get some volume and we break and get a close underneath the 210. This could drop another 30 points down into 180. Okay. So there's opportunity on this both ways. If we get this break, get a nice flush, a nice probably 10, 15 point day maybe. Smack down right into here. Then a follow through down into this area. I don't think there's anything wrong in their business, as far as I know. I'm not aware of anything. I think this was part of this big drop was part of an acquisition for Slack. And now it's just going through and processing that. So let's see. Basically, the key is break of 209. Let's just say break of 209 brings downside with potential of 180, and then reclaim over 225, risk to 220 brings the upside back into motion. So that's CRM. Okay, triple D. Okay, so here's something you got to be careful of. You can see that there was a ton of volume when it broke out. Down here, 1250. And a little volume on the upside. That doesn't mean it's not going higher. It means you got to be careful. So now that was the bigger picture on the daily. Now, if you look more recently, we have a volume spike down here at 25 and at 2880. So if this 28, basically I would say if the 28s hold 2750 to 28 area, if this volume increases and the price moves above that, that means they're buying, and we can look at 30 plus and more grind to the upside, right? But we do need to clear this 32 again. It may need to consolidate for a bit in this area before it starts that next leg. And then for the downside, if you want, it's not a bad risk reward. It pushes on this 29.30. I think that, or this previous high, like more around this 29.60 to 30. You can risk versus 30 for if you like the downside on this. This is a double top, and it needs to come back to find support at 2022. If that's your thesis, then this is a great risk reward for a short for that play. Remember, it's a pretty big pop. Let's see. I don't know. And they got a neutral downgrade, downgraded from underweight to neutral on this move at JP Morgan. So so this could have more downside. I think the opportunity, at least near term, I like for a short more than I like for a long. That changes if we break over 32. Then it's going to be more squeeze. Okay, Facebook. Oh, still a lot to go over. Okay, let's take a look. I'm probably going to start skipping some tickers if I don't see something right away. Come on. Okay, and I did miss BB in our list, so sorry about that. Back to it. Okay, so Facebook had a nice and interesting spot, right? It's basically at the 200 moving average. It's at long-term support and resistance here at 245. And it dipped into 245 and bounced on looks like it did it overnight or on between Thursday. So if this holds and now we can get back over 255, the upside story for Facebook is back on. But if we break this 245, then we're looking at probably 220 to 200 coming. It won't necessarily be fast or easy. This is, you can see all this volume right here, so it could be choppy in this area. And then if it breaks this 225, then we get the easy money drop. But so my thought is I prefer a long on this, and risking to this 245 or 240 level. And then if it reclaims over 255, then adding to the position for a swing long Facebook. Okay, FSLY. Nice washout after failing to break over the 100. Back back in December, came back to the 50, tested it, bounced, pushed, came back, tested the 50 again, and pushed. Now the problem is we've got this failed move here, and it slammed back down. So overall, this consolidation to me without a news catalyst, I don't just technically looking at the chart, I don't have much interest. For the purpose of swing trading, one could go long and risk to near term 85 or so, 85.30, using that as a stop. And not bad risk reward here if you can get it around 86, 88, risking 3 points for maybe 20 points of upside. If that's the bounce, and if it breaks below, then 80, a break of 80 would be of interest for at least the 200 test down here at 72, 70, and if that breaks, then we've got big shit show coming. But so far, This area around here, 75. If it comes down into 75, 76, that area has been bought. So that would be an interesting long spot as well for a swing. So if it does this, this, and then it comes down here and then starts going higher, then that would be a great long spot. And then risk to 70, 74 or something like that. Okay, there was news this last week that they do plan on announcing their earnings soon. So I think they're announcing it actually in 1 month. So there also is a potential for an ER run up. They're announcing on 217. So dip if it's going to be kind of dependent on market, I think. But we should keep an eye on this for an ER run if this continues to hold the 50. Okay, GILT, that new high and then slam. I don't know anything about this ticker or how or why it moves. But if this 720 area gets bought and holds, then I could see it make a move toward 850. If it turns out to be a double top and we break below 7, then I would expect a dump back into 6 or less. Really. GME. All right. So here's the crazy, crazy thing. 35 held again. Right. So we had the double top on Thursday. Failed, open, pushed into the 40, and then just dumped right into the 35. When I started breaking below, I was looking forward to take out this 33 and then flush back to 29.30. Just because I kind of think that this is all just one major, everything above this 20 is a big short squeeze. Maybe not 20, maybe 24. But basically I think a lot of this is short squeeze. And what's happening is it's caught. Shorts are really wrecked, right? So you had this push. Imagine everybody who loaded up short here go on this 35 area, right into this spike, going, okay, hey, look, I nailed it. They didn't cover on this 30. Then after hours, now they're squeezed and now they're red again, right? And so if they maybe reloaded or averaged and they're like, cool, came back to 35, they're now in the money. But if this 35 continues to hold and we get back over this 39.40 come this week, this whole new batch of shorts are going to get pummeled. And we could see a move up into 50 or 60, right? That's the bull case, right, for another short squeeze. Again, I don't because of the overall situation that I think that this is a big squeeze. I think a double top fail, push fail. My bias is short, risking versus this 38.50, 38.60, and thinking that once we can get a break of this 34, 33 levels, could have a nice fader back into mid 20s. So we'll just have to see. Right. This is kind of now, once we're into this kind of a move, we're a bit disconnected from reality. It's more, well, I can't say reality, about fundamentals. Where basically it's a supply and demand issue, right? So with so many shorts, that and people probably sizing with their accounts, going, hey, this is going to come back. You know, they should have been bankrupt or whatever. That they're expecting it to come back. If it doesn't, this could just take a life of its own, just constantly squeezing. So just be careful on it. So watch this 38.50 area, potential for a squeezer up. Definitely a lot more squeeze if it can clear this 40, the 40.50 level. Again, it'll more than likely start squeezing. But again, if you're doing that, you want to be buying on dips because you can see that on these spikes, depending on the way the price action is, you don't want to be chasing long into a spike because you can see once the shorts buying dries up, it dumps. Right? That's the other way to trade this is wait for these parabolic spikes and then get short because you're basically selling into the shorts that got squeezed. Okay, so that's GME. Let's move on to iRobot. Okay, so iRobot had a big rip. Um, it looks like on Friday, and then came all the way back. So you can see here when it does this push into a high. Oh, this was an ER dump. So we'll have to see, right? If it can hold this 87.50 and consolidate, it can move higher. But we do have some selling here at 89s. Yeah, so 89.50 risk versus 87.50. Under 87.50, I think then it can start selling off again. Come back to this. It now ER. I think it's not confirmed yet, but we're looking at uh, early February. So expecting around the 10th. So like 4 weeks away. So if you are bullish on iRobot, I would say you can go long. Risk versus that 87.50. Tight stop for a bounce from here. All right, so let's see what else we have. Okay, LAC. So this is an interesting one for everyone. So big rip on this news that it looks like the lithium mine project in Nevada is going to get their go ahead. Right. So it should go, right? And in theory, it may. But I don't know yet. But what I do see in the chart is this news seems to have been expected, right? So this whole buy up was expecting that this news was going to come out positive, and the stock doubled. So the question is, will there be additional buying now that with that approval, and does this go to 30 plus? Or, my bet right now is initially we see a push, and then we have some profit taking, right? On this gap up. And then we got to see after that profit taking what comes on next week, or whether or not it carries through to 30 plus or not. All right, let's continue. Okay, LUMN. Okay, this is kind of an interesting chart. It came flushed on Friday. I'm not sure what the catalyst on the news is for this ticker, but the chart, the daily looks incredible, right? Like look at this, all this consolidation breakdown came back. Look at this 11 resistance here, 1080 cleared. We've got this next resistance at 1150 right here. So if it clears this 1150, let's take a look. Where can it go? It can clear this 1150. It's got room to 13 and then 16. Okay. So we'll have to see. It does have an ER coming up. That could be the catalyst it needs for more upside. And that's coming on the February 10th. Okay, Momo, halfway through the list. Okay, nice. Wow, big rip, pull back. Watch this 14.30, $14 area. Find support. Find support here, and then starts grinding higher. Can go long. Otherwise, if it breaks back below 14, then it's back in either this consolidation action or it's going to fail and head lower. Okay, Netflix. We got ER. I think they report on Tuesday after hours. Um, so check out the daily. Been big consolidation since the last couple quarters. It's been stuck in this tight range between 570 and 480, 100-point range. It's just been stuck in. So depending upon the news, if it breaks this, if it's bad and they've been losing a lot of subscribers, we break this 470, 460 there area, then downside we have 420 and 370 as potential drops it can come down to. If the news is really good or they like it and buy it, we probably push up over 600. And then I'd probably look for a short into that rip for some profit taking. Net. Okay, so now we have. I'm not sure why this was brought on. In the hourly, right here, multiple days, it looks like a swing setup. Um, as long as it's 76, 76.50 holds right here, and then come back higher, but there's definitely some resistance here, some supply around 82.50. So that's where it's going to need to get back over this area in order to head higher. The one thing got to be, we have the 50 moving average here, but we also have a look at this right here. It pushed, made a new high, slammed, came back, tested this level right here, and failed. So if it breaks this 74 area and then this the 70 area, this could actually have a decent flush to the downside. Just got to remember it's had this decent run, but I don't know anything about net, so it could just move more consolidation. What I just see on the daily is um, there's over 83 or 85. I kind of like it more for a long, but on dips and keeping tight stops. And then if it breaks below this, I kind of think that it could go down to this level or this level. Okay, NNDM. So this is a ARK investment. It's a penny stock. They think it could triple. If it can triple from here, I mean, it's up huge, right? From October, from 50 cents to 10, $11. But I'd say if this continues, we have some volume here. It dipped, decent volume on this dip day consolidation. I'd say that as long as it holds over 980 or so for near term, if one wants to risk for a long, go for it. Otherwise, the interest would be to buy it probably closer to $7 or $8. Yeah, I like it more around $7. But if you think the trend is strong and it's going to keep going, then use 980 as your guide. Okay, now. Okay, so now is under the 50. Just a lot of consolidation. If it breaks this 500 or 505 this week, it does have ER coming up, and it looks like on the 27th or so. So if it's if it's not good, could get a big 50-point drop down here into the 445. And if that fails, we're looking at a drop down, way, we could even see 400. It's a huge run since April. And if it's good, then we got reclaim probably likely of 550 and move up, towards 600. Okay, so that's now PDD. Okay, so broke out, pushed, failed, tested this, failed. Now we're looking at it may want to a little bit difficult because they were buying it a little on this dip. Overall, it looks we need to see whether or not this resistance right here um, turns into support. We have some support at 155 and at 162. So currently we closed below 162. So I'm kind of thinking we may be coming down here, even 152, 150 if it comes back here and then bounces for PDD. It's probably an okay long spot down here at 150 if we get a dip back over down into this level. And then if it breaks 140, then I would expect the dump for a nice short. Okay, plug. I'm kind of done with plug for now. I do think that it does have some more. It could do a gap fill down into 55. That's still my overall target. We'll see, right? If we push and fail on 62 again, we can probably get short, targeting that 55 for some gap fill. Okay, and that's plug. QS. Okay, so we'll just need to see if this 50 can hold. Otherwise, my overall thinking was the move once it broke this 25-30 area, that everything over this 35-40 area was just short squeeze. So I kind of think it may need to come back here before it can go higher. And so the key on that is going to be seeing if 47 or so breaks. So if this low right here breaks, then we can get down to 30 or so. If this holds and we continue to consolidate in base on 50, then watch for a 60 break in a month or two. And maybe it comes sooner, who knows? And then that we can get another short squeeze coming in. Okay, skills. So Fiverr and SKLZ. Those are both companies in the remote labor industry, I believe. And so I think it could be pulling back here. If it holds 24 area, then it could continue to have upside, especially as COVID still is going on. Now, here's the thing: if the vaccine rollout is successful, and things start reopening, this may have some pullback, right? So we'll have to see. I do think that this whole remote economy, whatever longer term is, it's not going to go anywhere. I think people really like it. I think companies see that it's productive and they're not having to buy a bunch of office space. So there's the upside potential is still there for these remote labor companies. But they have gone. But that said, what do? If you bought it in November at $12 and it's doubled, maybe you take some profit, right? Maybe you bought it back in March at or May when it IPO'd at $10, and if it gets to $30 or $40, you might lock some in. so that it's going to have some, might have some resistance up there. The big issue that I've seen with a lot of companies, you can see a lot of buying that happened at these lows, but as we've been moving higher, there isn't a lot of strong volume. So that's got me concerned that whenever they decide to start unloading, that we're going to have a big drop. And that, but low volume grinds to the upside can go on and on and on for a lot longer than holding a short position. So be careful on that. Okay, snow. Okay, so it failed basically. In my mind, that push um, that was setting up, that we had the move right here the other day that we got long. Um, Basically, we got that spike, but then it failed. It came here, failed. So at this point, I'm kind of not sure how this plays out. It may consolidate. I don't have much interest in snow at this point. Right. Overall, I'm kind of thinking it's way. It's we got to remember, snow was priced, I think, at like $50 or $40 or something like that, and it gapped up and opened 4x. If I remember right. Um, so it could just be that it needs to sit in this 250, 300, 200, 250, 300 area for the next year or two to get the company to catch up to its stock price before it goes higher. I don't know. I don't know enough about it, but that's what it feels like. Okay, spot. Okay, big dump. Um, Push failed, new high, and just it just dumped crazy. I thought this was actually gonna hit, when it did this move, I thought it was gonna hold 360 and then start grinding higher, but we basically ended up with a failed breakout. So now it needs to find support, and I don't like this chart pattern. So if they end up holding, they're going to need to hold this 320 area, that support 317, 320 to save it. If it to come back to 340. Otherwise, it's been on a tear, right? Ever since the back here, and it's done I think this is when they did. No, I think it was here where they started the content acquisition strategy, and with the Kim Kardashian podcast. I think this was Joe. I don't know if it was this one or this one that was Joe Rogan. And anyways, we have a failed breakout, new high, slam. It likes to do this. So if we get one more slam down into 280, 290 area, and then it starts grinding higher, that could be a nice long spot down that way. The other thing, otherwise, we have to just see if they end up holding this this level right here. If the bids come in, and it can reclaim over 320, then that will be okay as well. But this is a little bit tricky, and it I don't yeah this looks ugly, but I don't necessarily like the risk reward for a short here either. So to me, it's just be patient and wait for a great trade setup. Okay, Visa. It looks like across the board we're seeing a failed breakouts on a number of tickers that we pushed um, and then failed, and now we're coming in and looking for support. So so we'll have to see. Right, last time it did this, it was back in February, March. Failed breakout, started yanking, kept going. I don't know if that's the same situation that we're running into right now. We do have some issues. We have some headwinds. There was the unemployment that went up recently, and we still have spikes in Corona going on. So it just to me it looks like folks are just locking in some gains. Okay, so we do have ER showing up, coming up here and on the 28th. So it may come down here if they have good ER, and then bounce off the 195, 200 reclaim and then head higher. Okay, Vail. So there's been a lot of call flow coming into Vail. And so let's see. So we have a double top here. We have pull, look for a support. I'd like to see it pull back into 1680, back into the support area, or 1750. And if that call flow is accurate, then we could get a bounce here and then move back up 20 plus. And then if it breaks 1650, I'd be looking for the short back down into 14. 1550 to 14. Well, if 1650 will get the 50 test, that should I mean, that could hold there. Overall, I'd kind of want to see this this I kind of like this 1480, this level, or this 1550 area as potential long spots if this fails. So yeah, so if it comes 1550 and then reclaims over this 617, then be kind of like a flush out the weak hands, reclaim trend, and then hit 20. Or if it's a strong, we see a bunch of strong buying again here in the 1740, 1750 holds. That's another long spot. And then just risk to 1720. So yeah, 1750 long on Vail, stops at 1720. Otherwise, short on a 1680 break, target 1550. Okay, X1. Kind of an interesting chart. Failed breakdown, clearing this. Okay, we should test the 17. And if this clears this and starts making new highs, then it could probably do 22 or so, I would assume. Big long-term resistance here. So so that's X1. Watch the 17, locked for a 17 breakout. Okay, let's keep going. We're almost done. We have two more tickers, ZS and ZM. And then I'll do BlackBerry. Hey, Zscaler. This looks good. It's consolidating right here. If it can break out over 215, it can do more upside. If it breaks below this previous support here, what, 207 or so, then it can probably do a flush down to 200. And if 200 breaks, then we have 180. Now, the only reason I'm bringing the downside up on this is just because of chips and rest of the market. And if you look at the daily and you zoom out, we've had a big run. So if the market decides to start selling off, there's potential for downside here. So we should keep ZS on a list for potential shorts if market dumps. Okay, so ZM, nice push right into the 50-day moving average. Looking to see it pull back. And there's a bunch of call flow for expecting this to go back over, clear this and head into 400, 420. There is also so a couple of catalysts for this is one, a squeeze. So when they did an offering down here and it got bought up, so that we got a squeeze off that. So now I kind of would love to see a pullback. I would prefer down into 370, 360 and then start bouncing and take a nice risk reward versus say 360 for a long for a break back over 400. It may not even give that pullback, so we'll have to see how this week works. The other catalyst is that there's a rumor that they're going to include Zoom in the. I thought it actually already got included in S&P. Do you guys recall? Um, I lost my window for the if anyone does anyone recall if Zoom was being added to the S&P index? I thought it was. And I thought that came out a while ago. Um, okay, I'll have to research that. But basically, that's one of the catalyst rumors I heard. So we'll see. Basically, tested the 50-day moving average, could pull back 360 and then push back higher, or it may just punch right through and get a rip up into 410, 420. Definitely a lot of call flow. Anticipating that. You can see 410. There's some volume here, so that's where they could be targeting. Clears this, then it's got a lot of room for the upside. And it's also a COVID name, so if things go more lockdowns and more, so with Biden, the 100 days of mask, who knows what else may happen around, wanting people to work more from home or keep more social distancing. Zoom could benefit. Okay, and last one that I missed earlier that I wanted to share was BlackBerry. Okay, so it had a monster move. Kind of a pretty big volume here, decent volume here, but got sold off. So now the question is, some people think that this is a big breakout and there's a big change in the business model. So if that is the case and the bull case, if you are bullish on BlackBerry, I would be looking at this $9.50 to $9 area as the place where they end up buying. And then if it can then reclaim over 1060, then the upside comes back into play. Otherwise, if it pushes 1020, 1060 right at the open and fails, and then breaks back below 960, I kind of would expect a dump back in $8. And that, so we'll have to see how this plays out. Right? Was this just a short squeeze? I mean, off the patent sales, or have they made a? I don't know enough about what BlackBerry's doing to get an idea of is this change that they've made a change in their business model that warrants this to go now to 18 or $20, right? I don't know. What I do know is I look for great risk reward opportunities, and something that goes from $7.50 to $12 overnight, it's a nice short opportunity. Now there is a long opportunity. If it dips, holds 9, and reclaims, then it could bring another short squeeze back up into 10. So we'll have to just see. You just have to pick your levels and time frame, and then see if you can catch a good risk reward trade off of it. Okay, and that's everything. That's a wrap. Oh wow, we actually made it into just over an hour. I hope everyone enjoy this. So okay, thank you, Benjamin, regarding the Zoom. So and then Rachel saying it's already added as of Friday. It was rumored to join on January 15th. The original, okay, but it didn't. And then Benjamin saying it actually didn't happen. So we'll have to figure it out because that's part of the buying volume. But that could also explain if it is going to actually happen, and that would carry it up and over. Okay, sorry guys. that's it for the video here. If anyone wants to meet over in for the next half an hour in the THT Discord, we can maybe plan out some trades from this list, and we'll talk it through. So thanks everyone for joining the Sunday chart review. I know it was a lot of charts. We have potential for a big drop this week. We also have then a potential for a big reversal after that, if that happens. So there's definitely going to be, and we have a lot of tickers and we have a lot of earnings. So remember, we don't have to catch everything. You don't have to catch every single move. You just need to find 2 to 4 good trades, maybe 6 solid trades each day. Sometimes only one, right? So be patient, wait for the setups, and then strike. And then do nothing, right? Don't give up your gains. So thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and see you all Tuesday morning. Take care.